But you're gonna have to when you start.
Well, I was thinking I could show me. I don't know if last week's been uploaded.
I'm Denville Road, my door's
I've
open
recorded
down the street
it, but I
screaming.
didn't upload
The
anything.
cops come,
You wouldn't even remember.
and he walks me over to the front and he says, let me show you something.
So we can
Do
upload
you see
two
the front of
today.
your car? I'm like, He's like, there's no damage. It means you didn't hurt him. It means you weren't speeding. You're fine. And I'm like, but I had 2 dogs. I'm an awful person. I had to drive to myself. And I couldn't stop shaking. I stayed there for about 15 minutes. They're fine. Ironically, when I hit 2 dogs, I hit them in front of a vet clinic. So 2 vets came out to check the dogs out, and they were fine.
Can we do it this afternoon?
Okay, so we decided to upgrade.
Yeah, let's do it right after the meeting.
I get your attention somehow, y'all.
Yeah, so
We're upgrading from paydays to 100 grand. Lead with revenue. So
2:30.
here we go.
So,
3 to 5 is like
Sean
a
Babbitt,
start.
Nate Fair, Les Bailey, Robert Bassett, Joe Bell,
I saw Joe Bell.
Annie Bjerkstrand, Bob Bolding, Carl Brent, Dave Brown.
Here's
Dave Brown's here.
Overhead. Nice.
Ski
I'm
rack.
gonna decide. My arm is kind of messed up, so
Ski rack one.
I'm losing some velocity.
Christina Carlson, Lorna Cochran, Kristen Cole, Kai Coleman, Michelle Concepcion,
Yay, Michelle.
Annalise Cooper, Kevin Cross,
Newman.
Hey, that's me.
Sean, you
I want to get him
Walk it back, walk it back.
Ooh, 100 grand today.
right?
Wow.
Ron Day, Steve Day, Matt Dimmick, Kira Dreyer, Chris Drusdo, Ed Erickson, Caitlin Espada, Lane Gunter, Kelly Harris, Quake Hayden, Teresa Hell, Liz Hockenadel,
Pocanito.
Coconuttle.
way off. Patrick James, Ryan Johnston, Michael King, Gregory Kroon, Paul Leachman, Valisa Linian. Good catch.
There you go.
Good catch.
All right.
Kabi Lucas, Ryan May Lucas, Vanessa Malarby, Chris.
It had height.
Had heat.
We haven't worked on that one in the office just yet.
I'm gonna expect 10,000 hours to mastery. Let's go.
Christy Mock, Reed Moore, Diet Owen, Brett Owen, Amy Peltier, Brandon Pennington, Gerald Pesterkoff. Saw him in the elevator.
I saw him
Yeah.
there, yes.
Yeah. Quentin
He's
Peterson,
negotiating a deal. Oh,
Daniel Potts, Heather Powell, which is no longer Powell, by the way, if you see her.
Yes, we got married this weekend. Did you know?
Right.
How do you say her last name, Joe?
Torgensen.
Torgensen. So the J is silent, like knife with a silent K. Okay. I have to work through these things.
Not the knife.
Thanks for taking this out.
Brittany Radford.
Allison, I've been trying to talk to you about that.
All you have to do is knock on my door.
It's only taken like 5 years.
Hey,
He came over.
Me and Reed, Steve Renner, J. Rowe, Jonathan Rodriguez.
Thumbs up.
J-Row.
Yeah,
Sound like Ruh-Roh or
it's like J. Lowe, but J. Rowe.
J-Row?
Michael Schwartz, Stuart Smith, Jennifer Stalkup,
Oh.
Jen is armed and dangerous today.
Don Storm, Jeffrey Sissel, Chris Thomas, Ryan Tollefson, Jason Trout, Kristen Van Wheat, Dara Walden, Denny Wood,
Oh, yes, I get to throw one.
Kylie Wise, Ben Zollinger.
Awesome. You guys are just on fire. So super cool stuff. So I want to, hi there. I want to,
Casey, you want one? No.
I saw you guys practicing that yesterday. So, without further ado, since we've already given him a resounding applause, I do want to formally welcome Vinnie Clark. tell you, Vinnie, I don't know if you guys saw it last night, but Vinnie posted on Facebook a picture of his family reunion bag and multiple packets of Kool-Aid across it. And little dig at the yes, I drank the Kool-Aid, and it was funny. It was definitely, I got a little chuckle. It was good stuff. So seriously, we're excited to have him. He's out in the Russell office, nailing down actual office space, trying to work through that. But you will see him in probably in all three of the offices. Vinnie does a lot of business in Anchorage, does a lot of business, he lives in Eagle River. So you will probably see him everywhere. So just, be aware of that and watch out. And we're just super happy to have you and really glad you're here.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Since you kind of played hard to get for so long, I'd like to hear about a 30-second speech of why he's here.
You gotta be ready to roll.
Right on. Well, I appreciate it, but
Hey, you played hard to get for a long time too. I tried to chase you. You told me point blank, I am never coming to Keller Williams.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
no, I just realized that as much as I tried to hold out and stay at my brokerage that I was at for all these years, I just realized what a good thing that you guys had going on here. I thought how many agents could be wrong about the decision that they made for their business. So, not to
like
really.
The people for 20 years that you've known that's been telling you for like 5 years.
Bitter Betty, aisle 4. You didn't even come back. I'm like, in all seriousness, I just realized what a great thing you guys had going. The way I wanted to build my business, I realized all of a sudden it was backwards. I kept telling Jen, I want to build the team and then come over afterwards. And it's kind of like Zig Ziglar always says, you can't expect the heat to come out of the fire before you actually light it. You have to light it first and then you get heat. You can't expect it the other way. So I just realized, what am I doing? I need to be over here and have the guidance and leadership that's going to help me grow my business.
Well said.
And I will just say this. We have one more coming this week, so we got an exciting one. So just hold on to your hat. It's been a big week. Pretty good stuff happening. So let's see, training classes. Let me get you kind of up to speed, and then we're going to dive into our topic today. Denny, you want to make your announcement about the board of realtors?
Actually, I have two announcements.
Okay.
Tonight, from 5 to 7, there's going to be what is called an happy hour. Tom Hormel from Washington State, who's the past president of the Sears chapter down there, does all of his business on his iPad. And he's going to teach you the apps you need to use. It's 5 to 7. It's going to be held at the Remax Dynamic Conference Room. If you're a CRS chapter member, it's free. If you're not, it's $30. Of course, if you pay $30 to the CRS chapter, you become an affiliate member, and you get free. And you also become a member. Kind of cool how that works. Anyway.
So 5 to 7 today?
5 to 7 tonight.
Okay, awesome.
Okay? And either you'll get a hold of me, you can register online if you've got to pay, or you can just call 561-2338 if you're a chapter member and call. Tell Kay you're coming.
Perfect.
Tomorrow at noon, I'm going to do a special post license class for the folks who kind of signed up recently, because we didn't have anybody when I was originally scheduled. So today at noon to 3, tomorrow noon to 3, I'm going to do a special post licensing class for anybody who needs it. So if you know anybody,
which topic are you going to hit?
we're going to hit the two most important ones. Listing presentation, not the listing presentation, the listing contract and the purchase of agreement.
Okay.
Line by line. So anybody who does not have post licensing, tell them to be there at noon. We'll get it started, and I'm going to schedule the rest of the classes around that class.
Okay, beautiful.
So we'll just kind of make a custom class for that group. Okay?
Like that.
And if you haven't gone, they just rewrote the purchase and sale agreement a few months ago, so it might not hurt just to go.
Yeah, get a little brush up here.
And probably in September, October, I'll probably do a VCE marathon, which I'll cover that again.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jenny, for all the resources he gives us for post-licensing and continuing ed, and it's just so awesome to have that in-house. And for those of you, just as a refresher, since it is July still, and it is a renewal year, you guys, you've got to renew your license in January, and that means you have to take your continuing ed. Understand that you have it free here as a benefit of having Denny. But they're offered 2-hour classes, sometimes 3, but typically 2-hour classes at a time. If you put it off, you're going to have to pay for a marathon at the end. So watch that training.
I'll take your money.
Yeah, and Denny will take your money all day long. He doesn't mind that. But do a little preparing and look at the training calendar every month and go get some of those classes done for free. We'd rather you save your money. So we appreciate you doing that for us.
Speaking of which, the Alaska Craftsman Home Program, they do those energy classes at night. And I try to post them on Facebook as much as I can when they have them on there. But those are free and they count for CE credit.
They're really good.
They're really good classes. If you have a house, it's a good class to go to.
Excellent. Okay, wonderful. A couple other training things just of note. So next week on August 8th, it's not necessarily open, but we do need you to kind of talk to us and RSVP because it's really, really based on numbers, based on the structure of this event. We're going to do one of our speed dating events, and it's going to be, so you're ready to commit is the title. If you are looking to hire your first assistant, if you have hired like just recently, and you're kind of right in that initial, so really the infancy stages of a first hire, we're going to have basically, you know, for those of you who have been to one of our speed dating events, it's structured. You're not actually dating. Let me be clear. If you're married, your marriage is safe and intact. But it's structured like a speed dating event. So we've got a long row of tables here, and we have the guests on one side, and then we have the other one here, and these are all the people that are interviewing. You get 5 minutes with each person, and then the timer rings, and you move down to the next one. Last time we did it, we had a blast. It was so much fun. Super concise, but you get a ton of information. So the guests are going to be those who have successfully made a first hire. And some of them just recently, some of them have been doing it now for a while, but we're asking people that have done it and done it well. Maybe they failed 4 times before they got it right, that's okay. Eventually they got it right. And so it's just a great time for you to say, teach me everything you know.
In 5 minutes or less.
In 5 minutes or less, absolutely. So if you're interested in that, if that's something that you go, man, I could really get some value out of just having time to pick the brains of people that are doing it and doing it right, we would love to invite you to that. So just grab Jacob or Allison or Shayna or myself. I'm skinnier than I am. And get your name on the list. So because we try and make it even numbers, right? So that we have like 10 on one side and 10 on the other, so it doesn't get too confusing. So let us know, we're excited about that. And then I am really, really excited, and we'll create something for you guys to register so we can make sure we've got seats for everybody. It's a free class. Cody Gibson will be back on August 21st to teach in the Market Center. And basically what he's going to teach is how to sell 100 homes in a brand new market where you don't know anybody in 1 year, which is what he did last year. The subtitle that we're not publicizing on Facebook because we don't want any of your clients offended, and not ever meet with a buyer or seller yourself one time, because that's what he did. Never went on a buyer's appointment, never went on a listing appointment. Joe, am I lying? Gary Keller interviewed him at Family Reunion. I've actually pulled up the video and watched it. It's an incredible interview. And Cody likes to title it as well, how to win when you think you're failing and how to fail when you think you're winning. He's learned a lot of lessons, life lessons, all kinds of stuff in the last couple of years. And so he's going to be home and going to share with us. And I think it's going to be really cool just to hear what he's gone through and hear his journey. For those of you who say, I can't do it, understand that he didn't know one single person in Portland and did it. So I think you're going to get some great ahas from that. So that's going to be August 21st from 1 to 4. I'm going to interview Cody for about the first hour and a half, just kind of unplugged, and then we're going to open it up to just dialogue, conversation. So I think that's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about that.
Is that here?
It is going to be here, which is why I need you guys. I actually think we may have a really big turnout for that. It's not going to be a table class. It's a sit and chair. So we can pack in a lot of people, but we will need to kind of keep tabs of who's going. We'll get a sign-up sheet. We don't want you uncomfortable and having to use like the overflow area. So we're excited about that. Is there anything else, EO's training that I should mention? Anything, Sheena, that I should mention?
Ignite will be starting the 3rd week of August. We have classes in Anchorage and in Wasilla. And so if there's anybody who I haven't talked to that wants to know more about it, be a part of it, grab me, email me, text me, let me know.
Awesome.
Jacob, you want to do anything?
That's it.
So Jacob and Shayna spent last week along with Michael King. I was hoping Michael might be in here today, but he's not. Down at Coach's Skills Camp in Austin, Texas, and really, if you guys, I was just gonna kind of put you on the spot. I didn't ask you about this. Oops. Is there any one aha that you could share real quickly from that, and just kind of what that was like for you?
You know, guys, one of the biggest things that I walked away with was there was a 25-year-old kid. So there's 250 people in the room, and that's it. Normally you go down to family reunion or mega camp, and there's 10,000 people down there. So there was a 25-year-old in the room that had been in the business. This was his 3.5 years. So he'd had 3 solid years. In his first year, his GCI was $35,000. First year in the business, made $35,000. Second year in the business, his GCI was $85,000, $90,000, somewhere in there. Third year in the business, it was over $900,000.
And year to date.
And year to date, so it's the end of July. Year to date, he's already cracked $1 million, and he's 25. And all the kid does every single day is sit at his desk and make phone calls. He makes between 30 and 40 phone calls every single day, and he pitches off all of his leads to his buyers and sellers agents. And he's 25.
Sounds like he's got a little bit of focus.
I don't know if I told you guys, but this kid's 25.
That's his desk.
No idea. No idea. But Michael King sees the guy stand up and he's like, oh, Justin? Okay. So at break, he gets up and he's like, hey, I need to talk to you. And he goes over and he grabs the kid and he interviews him for like 8 minutes. So it was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It definitely kind of
really
just
cool.
pushes your boundaries, right? Makes you think.
It does.
Like how many
Yeah.
limiting beliefs do we have, right?
Yeah.
Any ahas you want to share?
Gosh, I could talk for hours on it. I think we did the other day. It just keeps coming and coming. The one thing that I was reminded of this morning in a coaching appointment, and when they said it, it really stood out to me. One simple fact, you cannot hold people accountable to promises they never made to you. So as team leaders, as people who are growing teams, as, you know, all of us when we're coaching with people, we have all these guidelines and all these goals that we've set up for them. And I had to really go back through all of my clients that I coach with and say, is that my goal for them or is that their goal for them? So if they haven't promised you something, you can't hold them accountable to it. And I think if you look at that, a lot of times you can refocus that relationship pretty quickly.
I like that. I hadn't heard that one. That one's good. They just keep coming, these pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Right, oh, and then the other one that Jacob and I just loved was, people will come to us, people will advertise, people will market, I've been in the business 20 years, I've been in the business 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
And so a really good way that we've learned to look at that is, have you been in the business for 20 years or have you been doing your first year of business 20 times in a row?
Thank you.
For saying that out loud.
I'm gonna, can you say that again one more time? Have you been in the business for 20 years
Or have
or?
you been doing your first year of business 20 years in a row?
Wow, that's powerful. And if you really think about it, I mean, I know,
That's
boom, that
a lot of
like
people.
lasers me personally. I think I did my first year of business 8 years in a row before I finally even thought about trying to maybe do it differently.
Right.
Not that I got it right at that point. That's just where I decided I made the
You
change.
got it different.
I got a little bit of a change, exactly. Well, guys, if you, I will tell you, Coach's Skills Camp sells out in about 2 weeks when they open registration, which I think is now on kw.com. Look, this isn't something we try and drive lots of attendance to. We don't win any awards or anything for this. But I will tell you, if you are interested in developing your, not just your leadership skills, but under the umbrella of leadership, your coaching skills with your team members, with the people that you're with your spouse, with your family.
Anybody.
Yeah,
Right.
this is an incredible, I've never talked to anybody that hasn't said this is a game changer. If you register, I will tell you, if it comes down to it next year and you can't go, trust me, we can sell the ticket for you, no problem. We'll just put it on our team leader and MCA Facebook pages. It'll be gone in no kidding, 2 minutes or less. But because it is a small group, which is the only way that kind of class works, you're talking about 250 or less seats. And they can't get bigger, otherwise you lose the dynamic of what you're there to learn. If you even think that that's an option, I would really encourage you to go and register for that now. We always have a couple people down there.
going. Last year, I think Matt Dimmick and Ed Walden went, and Reed Moore went a couple of years before that, and these guys signed up the first day, I think, to go again.
Yeah.
To go again. So it's definitely something that's worth your investment if you're really wanting to develop your coaching skills with your team members or anybody else for that matter. Awesome. Anything else announcement-wise before we dive into kind of just chatting about stuff? So we wanted to, Jacob mentioned this yesterday about this kid that's 25 that's blowing up his business, and it was a real eye-opener for me because as I was listening to Jacob tell the story about this guy, I was thinking into all of my coaching relationships that I'm in. And sometimes I feel like I'm sort of an idiot, honestly, that really not even being funny, because all I do is say the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Make your calls, make your calls, make your calls, make your calls, make your calls. And I feel like the people sitting on the other side of me are probably going, seriously, I'm like taking 30 minutes to hear, or like give me some wisdom, give me some great piece of advice. And the truth is, that is the most wisdom I can give you. Make your calls, make your calls, make your calls. And when you have that mastered, then we'll move to the next piece. But at this point, if you don't have that mastered, that's where we're staying.
There is no next piece.
And we're staying there. Right, exactly. And so it really kind of freed me up to go back and feel dumb, because it's not dumb. It's the right thing. And then we started talking about those calls and about how do those look and about prospecting in general. So what we wanted to do today, and I'm going to ask Shana to come on up too, is we just want to have a conversation about prospecting and kind of have a dialogue amongst ourselves and invite you to join in as you see fit. And we just want to brainstorm around prospecting. Another reason this kind of came up was, how many of you guys were at the Monica Reynolds class on Friday? Oh wow, a lot of people. So some of you, about half the room has heard this idea. Allison was telling me, she was talking about door knocking. We have a few door knockers in our office, and I mean they are purposeful, 250 doors a month. They get out there and they do it. And so July Leslie is one who just religiously does it. And so this idea was awesome, and Monica's idea was if you get a listing that has multiple offers on the property, okay, I'm just going to stop. All the high C's in the room, please don't correct me on all the legal stuff. We know that you have to be careful and dot your I's and cross your T's. So there, done. Caveat said. She was saying take the first page of every offer that you get on a property. So you get 3 offers on a property. Take the first page, black out whatever you need to, the buyer's name, yada yada. Put it together in a packet and go door knock the neighborhood and give out that packet. Hi, this is what's happening in your neighborhood. Your neighbor garnered 3 offers on their home. Do you know anyone in the neighborhood who's looking to buy or sell, or to sell their home? Because this is what's happening. And oh, by the way, you don't. You live in a great neighborhood and the market is really showing favorably on it, so you should know that valuable piece of information. Can I get your contact information so I can keep you posted on what's happening in Independence Park or whatever? I thought, what a powerful illustration, to get. And then I thought, well, gosh, we were talking about this, we were like, well, what if you don't have a listing, but you want a door knock? And so we were just brainstorming, and what was the idea that we came up with, do you remember?
Yeah, you know what, it doesn't even need to be your listing. I mean, how many listings do Dar or Kevin or Ryan or Reed have that get multiple offers?
That they're not going to go door, that they may choose not to go door knock. I don't mean they're not going to, like they're not going to door knock. I mean, they may say that's not part of our marketing strategy.
But it's just as easy to go door knocking and say, hey, our office had a listing 3 doors down that had multiple offers on it. These are all the offers. If you're even considering selling, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, so if I went to Jacob and said, hey man, I saw you listed this property, I heard you saying there was multiple offers. Do you have a problem if I go market your listing for you and it just go door knock? Are you okay with me talking to the neighbors about that, or were you planning on doing it? I'm not going to go door knock. Go for it, Jen. Okay, thank you. Get permission, and again, dot your I's and cross your T's. But don't come up with a drunk monkey. There's a way. There's always a way to figure out something. Kevin, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that, yeah, because the truth of the matter is that I know, like me, Reed, and Ryan, and stuff like that, you know what? Sometimes we take low-hanging fruit, the stuff that we got to work hard, the stuff that takes a little bit of extra effort. There's no room on our plate.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to hand that stuff out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's find a reason, right? Like we'll come up with excuses and say, well, I can't find a reason. Guys, we have the best, and I've lived here 19 years, this is the best summer I've ever seen on an extended period of time. You know, we've had good days and good weeks. If you want a door knock, now is your opportunity. And like July and I were even talking about her ramping up her number of knocks because she knows that there's going to be 2 months that are going to show up in the winter that she just physically can't get out there. When it's minus 15 and your corneas are freezing, you're not going to door knock. And we don't need anybody in the hospital for that. So she's like, I guess I need to ramp it up and do more now, right? So door knocking is an idea. Let's just brainstorm some other prospecting ideas as well. You guys jump on that. What are the lead sources?
Well,
All right.
Some of my favorite series of chains of deals are, because you guys know I deal mostly with investment properties, I have sold fourplexes or duplexes, and as we're doing the home inspection, I talk to the tenants, and then I find another one, and I sell them a house, and then it's just a chain. I've had a chain of 6 or 7 deals from every time I find somebody. But why aren't you your own landlord? Why don't we go find you something? We usually don't know the right questions to ask. They haven't taken time to get pre-qualified.
Didn't think they could.
Didn't think they could, but you know what's great is that when I sell multifamily, I get a copy of their application to rent, I get a copy of their rental lease agreement, I can find out they've got good job history, and go, this guy should be buying a house. Yeah. I'm all over that.
So, and I'm gonna just follow up on that. If we're not selling fourplexes, what is a great way to put yourself in front of first-time home buyers? Because I always thought, what a great market. So what, as a buyer's agent, as somebody who doesn't focus on those things, what's a great way to get in front of first-time home buyers? If that's gonna be your market, I think it's an excellent market.
Well, just host an open house on again, a good location, a really hot location that's easy accessed, and you could probably pick up 4 or 5 people on
Open
Saturday.
houses?
Well, and I have to say, you know, everybody thinks of Kevin as the investment guy now, but our license numbers are like how close to each other. And I remember when we were trolling the halls of Keller Williams together, and this guy was on everybody's open house list. Like literally went around to all the big agents and was like, I'll do open houses for you.
Listen, here's the best thing I learned in open houses is that the best ones I ever got was West Park or something close to the Coastal Trail on evenings, 5 o'clock and after. That's when people are walking their kids, they're off work. You know
And
what I mean?
he was a machine. He did it more than
He's still
anybody
a
else.
machine.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like for the open house,
the
as a
problem
new
is that
agent,
if you do it on a Saturday or Sunday between 1 to 4, it's what everybody else is doing. So pick an evening close to a bike trail, and you'd be amazed at the amount of traffic you can get through there, and you got no competition.
Yeah.
Another thing, you know, on our rental properties, every time I talk to a potential renter, I do a rent versus buy analysis. One time I had 7 potential renters for my property. I gave all 7 of them a rent versus buy analysis, you have 3 buyers. Because it's better for them to buy, to rent even for me.
Sure.
You know?
So I talked to a new agent on a team here on Sunday. I stopped at his open house, and he's done open houses every weekend for a month, both days, and he's picked up 3 to 4 new buyers each weekend.
Where was he at?
And he's written 6 contracts in the months he's been. This one was out of Huffman.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know where the others are.
Well, here's the interesting thing about that. You said he's been doing open houses.
For a month, both days, so 8 open houses.
Okay, here's where we fall off the wagon. I did an open house, nobody showed up, I quit, because open houses suck.
Right.
Hey, when I
Right.
got there, he was standing out by his truck, wanting to leave. It was like.
Sure,
one
okay, I'm gonna Vinnie for a second, because we had this conversation on Saturday. Vinnie had a question, and I said, well, I knew we had an open house on Saturday. I said, yeah, I'll be happy to answer. Why don't you give me a holler when your open house is done? So he calls me back, I say, hey, Vinnie, how's your open house? Why did you share it with me, because I love this.
I shared it with, you know, since nobody really showed up out there in Settlers Bay, I actually took the time to make some of my expired phone calls. And I found it, just the ratio between people answering the phones, you know, like most of the time when people do their expired during the morning time, like 9 to noon, when people are obviously at work, I find on the weekends, they're more likely to be at home and, you know, they're not, you know, especially if you're not bugging them around dinner time, they're a little bit more open to talk and
You had like
discuss.
3 conversations, I think, with.
And I made like 4 calls. so 3 out of, and then after that I ended up leaving, but I realized, I was like, my aha was, maybe I should start doing this more on the weekends.
So, I mean, so there's 2 points here to grasp. Number 1, just because it's dead in an open house doesn't mean it's a wasted open house. Because what you do with that time, you've just time blocked 3 hours, right?
Right.
You time blocked 2 to 3 hours.